Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Lecture Notes. So today I'll be explaining a partition novel Basti which is written by Intizar Hussain, and in this particular video I'll be explaining chapter 8 only. So here Zakir is moving on the roads because the college is closed because of the regular riots, and as a result he is taking a long walk of boredom to reach Shiraz. And as he is walking, he reads so many posters with the same message, that is, Crush India, and so many two-word slogans written in English on car bumpers, on car windows. So everywhere or anywhere he sees only two words, the slogans Crush India, whether it is on a wall or a car or anywhere, he sees only two words and slogans related to this only. So Zakir walked many kilometers in his own thoughts and finally reached Shiraz. And as soon as he reached Shiraz, he saw the white hair man, which is the regular customer, who is the regular customer of Shiraz. So the white haired man's tea was getting cold, but he was still staring at the wall before him. Suddenly, he bowed his head, buried his face in a handkerchief, and began to weep with great sobs. So, the newspaper he was reading, and in the last chapter, also, we saw in the last scene that um, Ammi Jan is regularly worried for her sister Batul, who is in Dhaka. And in the last scene of the last chapter, that is chapter 7, she is shown to be really anxious and bewildered that what is happening in Dhaka and what is the rumors and what is the exact situation. So I will give you brief history that what was happening in 1971 in Dhaka. So basically, East Pakistan and West Pakistan were parting apart, and the East Pakistan now has become Bangladesh. And at that point of time, many rights were happening for the freedom and liberation. So this is the thing that she's worried about, that she hasn't received any letter and there are so many rights going, and that is the reason that the white haired men is crying, because earlier the people had faced the partition of India and Pakistan, and now on this land also they are facing the rights, the fights, and protest everything again. Then as this was the scene of Shiraz as well as outside the Shiraz, where the people were only worried that what is happening in East and West Pakistan. And then Zakir friends Salamat enters, and as soon as Salamat enters in Shiraz, a boy asks him, Salamat Sahib, I heard your speech at your party's rally when you supported Bangladesh. Why are you so sorry today? Sorry, Salamat said angrily. Why should I be so sorry? I'm warning the imperialist pimps that they have lost the game. In other words, Pakistan has lost the game. So here, imperialist pimps have been called to West Pakistan, and he's fighting for the liberalization of East Pakistan, which will be Bangladesh later. So Salamat and his all friends are on the side of East Pakistan supporting them. And the boy who asks clearly, he doesn't go with the same flow or same view with Salamat. Therefore, he's angry on hearing that how he refers to the East Pakistan as, sorry, West Pakistan as imperialistic pimps. So again, Salamat being now a revolutionary and he wants to take the part of in this partition, he is angry towards Zakir that he is not doing anything in this riots and protests. He, in anger tone, in a rat tone, he says, "You imperialist stooge, do you play innocent and ask how? Haven't you thought about what you are teaching to boys? The history of kings, opium pills, yes." Your father is responsible, who every day feeds my father on opium pill of religion. Even today, he fed him a pill. Today, my father went and learned the lesson of patience from your holy minded father. He says, God is with the patient. So, here, earlier, Salamat is anger that you can encourage your students also to participate in the protest, but here you yourself is not taking a part. So, he's angry towards him, towards Zakir, that he is not indulging in any activity which is taking place right now in the history. He's only reading about the history which is in past and not taking a part in the present. And then he says, because Salamat's father, Salamat's real brother, is in Dhaka, and the father hasn't heard anything about him, so he's worried. And Zakir fathers only say that you need to be patient, that whatever is going to happen or is happening right now, you need to be patient with it. So Salamat is making his 2 points, that you are not doing anything to for your country, for your people, and secondly, your father is only telling my father to be patient and do nothing. So after Salamat leaves angrily, Zakir asks that is he saying right, or am I the one who is wrong or not? Sefan glared at him and said, Zakir, you aren't by any chance trying to become Gamal Abdul Nasir. Now, how could be I do that? How could a teacher, cowardly and fearful, become Gamal Abdul Nasir? So here, the name refers to the Arab icon who worked for the liberation and freedom of the social indiscrimination that was happening in the Arab. So he says that I can't become a political figure because now, right now, I'm acting as a cowardly teacher, and I'm so much feared by the current scenario that I'm not the right person to become a political figure. Maybe Salamat is, but I'm no one to indulge in the rights and do anything right now. So both of them also departed from Shiraz, and for a brief period, for few months, any of the friends did not meet, and perhaps each of them inwardly felt the other a burden and wanted to be alone. In such a long friendship, for the first time, they had become a burden to each other because every person had different opinion, and if also they had the similar opinion, they could not do anything, or they were unable to do anything in that particular scenario of where they already had suffered the India-Pakistan partition, and now they were suffering another part of rights there in their new homeland. So while going to Shiraz, Zakir walked endlessly, and while going home also he was walking, and he realized that he hadn't been roaming around without a purpose. He had been searching for some solitary corner. So this is what happened, that in this Zakir, our protagonist, not has he has not only first faced the first partition, and now he is facing the second one. So clearly he realizes that he doesn't want a company of his friendship. What he realizes that he wants a alone time, peace, because he needs a peace of mind from all the activities, all the rights and fights that is going around him. So he walked towards a park where there are many beautiful flowers, and as soon as he sits there in that garden or a park, Afzal also is sitting there, and they both had a conversation where Afzal tells that on the one hand riots, on the other hand a flood, but my grandmother wouldn't leave the land. So he's telling about his grandmother, that while they were in a house which was um, on which hand there was flood and another hand there were riots, there was a totally complicated situation, and the grandmother was not allowing them to leave that place because the old people are really attached to the place where they have been born, brought up, and their children have been there. So Afzal mother told the grandmother, explained to her that we were leaving because of the flood, and when it went down we would go back. My simple grandmother was taken in, but those words stuck in her mind. Every few days she demanded, daughter, the flood must have gone down. Take me back. And then the grandmother asked Afzal that when are we going back? When are we going back? And then Afzal says to grandmother, my dear little granny, if the flood has gone down back, if there, it has risen over here. How can we go back? My heart told me not to say it. She would go on, ask more questions. I decided to go out, and I went out. I thought that day, rather than meeting disgusting people, it would be better to go and visit the trees and flowers. So, first of all, they are unable to tell the grandmother Afzal is unable to tell her grandmother that they haven't left the place because of the flood, but because of the riots that were happening there, and it was really deadly situation for them, and they had to leave the place, and there is no point, and there is no way they are going to their home again because they have made their new home here. And then he says that I don't want to meet any disgusting people, and therefore I'm here in the trees and flowers, which clearly show that how one human has turned out to be another human's enemy, and therefore everyone wants to be alone with the nature or with themselves only. And then he says, yeah, in Pakistan, the flowers have been growing fewer. That's why people have been growing uglier and hatred has kept on spreading. So clearly, he says that because of the war and because of the riots, there is only noise, blood, bloodshed, and it has made every country really dreadful. Clearly the paradise have turned into hell, and he wants to create that paradise again where the people love each other and there is no bloodshed, there is beauty of nature. And therefore he says, Afsal told to Zakir that he is getting 2 acres of land. On one he'll plant rose and another mango. And as soon as they were talking about making Pakistan beautiful, they heard air rapid, perfect silence, unfathomable stillness. Just a moment ago, there was such a roar and thunder that the earth trembled and the walls quivered. Now, a moment, such silence, such stillness. So, ironically, in their fantasy, they were thinking to make this land perfect like a paradise, but the reality was much more different, where there were constantly air raids, there were protests, their rights, and each person was ready to kill another. So clearly they were living in a moment where people were enemies, and they wanted a peace loving country which they were unable to get. So he says perhaps a ceasefire is more terrifying than a war. Here war has been referred to the partition of India Pakistan, and ceasefire here refer to the partition that is happening between East and West Pakistan. So he clearly says that the partition of India and Pakistan was much more tolerable as compared to the 1971 partition. And then he says, and when we told obstinate your promise that we there would be no bloodshed between us and our own would not be exiled from their own land, then you swore all this and you are a witness to it. Then you are the one who murders your own and exiles a group of your own from the land. So this is what is happening in East and West Pakistan, that their own religion people, the own people are turning towards each other, and therefore East and West Pakistan needs to be created because the people are not able to live peacefully. So, Zakir, in the last chapter, I gave few examples that how Zakir had different and weird kind of dreams and visions. So again, he is having another vision. He says that Tatya Tope asked me intently. He replied, "My friend, formerly I was fighting to save the throne of India. Now I am fighting to save the soul of India. I've lost that fight. I won't lose this one." He felt silent. He stared at me and said, "Are you a Muslim?" "Praise be to God, I am a servant of Islam." So I see. "What do you mean?" "Friend, what I mean is obvious. You Muslims are fighting only for the throne." So clearly, here is a slight negative portrayal of Pakistan, that how Pakistan is not seeing that how the bloodshed is resulting in the depletion of their own country, and they are just fighting for the position or for the throne. They are not realizing that how this massacre has creating an impact on their country as well as their people. So this also shows that how in Zakir's subconscious mind, this thing is obvious, that how people are killing each other only for power. So now in the end of the chapter he says, so many people have left Dhaka and staggered and stumbled half dead into Nepal. The forests of Nepal have a wide open embrace. Those who obstinately refuse to bow their heads and came here, those who have their lives of fleeing and came here, the dogs began to bark. My mind began to be confused. My sentences keep growing more and more disconnected. The dogs are barking exactly as they were barking last night. For them, there is no difference. So it shows that how only humans have shown this tendency to fight each other for power, but for dogs everything is same, every night and day are same, but it is only humans which are suffering because of each other. So clearly, animals are enjoying their life because every day is same to them. While on the other hand, humans are living a life where they are constantly afraid for their own life. So thank you for watching this video. Do like and subscribe our channel.